Welcome to the Utah Lacrosse Podcast. I'm your host, Tim Haslam. My guest today is Megan Jensen, who is the head coach at Provo High School and founder of Utah County Lacrosse. Jensen hails from Massachusetts, where she played lacrosse in high school, then found her way to BYU, where she played, then coached at Orem in the early 2000s. We talk about coaching, family lacrosse balance, Provo High, and the programs offered at Utah County Lacrosse. Hope you enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by Tribal West Lacrosse. Located at 9860 South, 700 East in Sandy, Tribal West is your source for the latest lacrosse gear and team sales. Head on down to the store and win a prize in the Great Ball Machine, or visit online at tribalwest.com. Welcome to the show, Coach. How are you?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. First podcast of the 2026 season. I'm excited that you were able to jump on and join me here today. First time doing a podcast in a while for me as well. So I'm excited that you're the first guest. As we chatted kind of before this, you've got a lot of great things going on. But first and foremost, when did you start playing lacrosse?
So I started playing lacrosse my freshman year in high school. I don't know if I dare say the year. That would date me. I don't even know if I can remember what the year was, maybe 1998. So I started playing lacrosse my freshman year of high school back east. I grew up in Needham, Massachusetts, which is a suburb of Boston. And at the time, we didn't even have lacrosse until high school. So I didn't know much about it. I always really loved playing sports, and going into high school, like softball wasn't really quite doing it for me. It wasn't enough action for me. And so I was super excited about lacrosse. So my sports were like soccer, basketball, and lacrosse, which I feel were like such a perfect fit. I try and tell girls that all the time. Like, it's like the best combo of sports. But so I started playing my freshman year, and it just so happened I was super lucky to go to a high school where we had a really great program at the time. We were ranked nationally, and my team won a state championship, like 5 years in a row in Massachusetts, and we actually didn't lose a game the entire time I was there until my senior year. We lost in the semifinals. That was the only loss I had, so that was a hard blow. But so I just happened to live in a place where we had a really great program, and I had a really great coach that. I fell in love with it quickly, and, being back east, there's a lot of opportunities to, go to really great clinics and camps, and, there's just a lot of opportunities to learn the game quickly. I played in high school, and like I said, on a great team. And, when it came to college time, I got recruited I actually, like in the summers, I would go and train with Kelly Monty Hiller, who now coaches at Northwestern. And she was one of the coaches. She recruited me out to Northwestern. That was my freshman year in college, was the first year that they had.
Oh, wow.
Northwestern. Yeah. And so I was a captain of my high school team. There were three of us, and all three of us got recruited. The other two captains went. I did not go. And senior year in college, they won the national championship.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, I just was really lucky in like the area that I was at. So yeah, I got recruited to play at various D1 schools. I was actually like verbally committed to Boston University. And then last minute, things kind of changed, and I decided to go out to BYU. And there were a lot of great things about that. And it took me a few years to kind of come to grips with the opportunity that I passed up. But a lot of great things came out of coming out to BYU. A different path, that's for sure, as far as the game goes. So I came out to BYU thinking that the women's team was just, a few steps away from having a D1 program.
Sure.
I was kind of, it was miscategorized a bit.
Sure.
But so came out to BYU, played on the team there. And at the time, it wasn't even an official BYU club. It was BYU students from all over the country, really great lacrosse players, similar to, all players that could have played D1 that, found themselves at BYU, and now we're playing on this club team. And we were a very good team. We the way that it was structured back then, I think the only teams that we had in Utah was BYU, University of Utah, Utah State. Weber had a team. I think it was just maybe those four. I don't even think UVU had a team. None of the South colleges had teams. I think it was just us four. And we would get together every Saturday and do like a round robin.
Cool.
And we would just destroy it. But we were really
sure.
good.
Yeah.
We were a really good team.
Yeah.
And so we were, a lot of us, like I said, were in similar boats, like really wanting to, really enthusiastic about lacrosse and really great players. And so we were trying to do everything we could to make it a team and grow the team at BYU. And the feedback that we got from BYU is that it would never be a sanctioned sport at BYU until it was high school sanctioned locally and that there was enough support from the local high schools, which I guess I understand, but we felt very frustrated about that because the athletes that were funneling into that team were not local, so we're thinking, why does it matter? BYU, it's, unique in that way that you're going to get great players that want to come to BYU because it's BYU. It's not, there were I don't even think we had anybody maybe we had one person on the team that was from Utah, maybe more than that. But that was when, like, I met, through that team, I met like Nikki Harding and Araya and Celeste, that family, which I know is from Utah. They're my So anyway, we, so when we found that out, that they wanted local support from the local high schools, a handful of us went and started coaching high school, trying to build the program, build the game. And it was all in an effort to get BYU to have a team. So I started coaching at Orem back then. And this was, obviously way before. I mean, if you flash forward, we didn't get high school sanctioned until 20 years later.
Right.
So I was in college in like 01 to 05. And it's taken that long. So we were at the time thinking we were very close, but we were not very close. But because of that, I got into coaching. I wouldn't have gotten into coaching if it wasn't for that. So like I said, they took me on a different path. And they brought great things because of that. So
yeah, and you go on to coach at Orem. I believe you won a state championship.
We did. So we Orem back then was one of the powerhouse teams, and we were in a unique position because there weren't very many teams in Utah County. It really was only Timpview and Orem, and so we had, girls from Lone Peak were playing on our team too. Yeah. So we had a lot of different girls with different talent. I mean, a lot of talent to choose from. So we played. We won the state championship. I believe it was in 04. I think it was 04. It might have been 03.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But I think it was 04. And that was an exciting game. We played against Bingham, who at the time they were like the team to beat. And we actually won by 1 goal. And it was because of stick checked. They got a goal taken away because they had an illegal stick. So it was like a really dramatic win.
Yeah.
And a huge deal. So that was really fun. And then, so I got married in 03, right when I started coaching. And then I had my first kid in 05. And I continued to coach 1 more year because my second kid came in March of 07. So that's when I stepped down from coaching because it just didn't make sense.
Sure.
And I don't know, do you want me to keep going or that?
No, yeah, of course. Yeah. So you step away from coaching.
I'm trying to think of a couple other things that were going on at the time. Like I know that there was an effort at the time to try and build some youth programs. Like Jason Lamb was around at that time. And I worked with Jason Lamb we started the girls lacrosse camp at BYU.
Cool.
I was the first director there working with him because he was coaching the BYU men's team. And so I started working with him trying to, build that. And I know that was inspired a lot by his daughter, who was, I think like 12 or 13 at the time, maybe a little bit younger.
Yeah.
And so I was also involved a little bit of that and trying to get some youth programs going at the same time too. But yeah, once my second kid came, I took a step away from lacrosse. And I know that this might sound, well, it probably doesn't sound silly to your audience, but it's, I, I, I made a decision when I had my kids to step away from lacrosse because I loved lacrosse too much. And it was too hard for me to split myself. And I just knew like I needed to give that. I needed to give that to my family and to my kids. Um, and so I just closed the door on it completely. Like I didn't watch any games. I didn't go to any games. I was so removed from the lacrosse world. It was actually kind of a sad, like I went through a period of time where I was kind of like grieving lacrosse in my life. Like it's never gonna be what I thought it was gonna be. And, I got to move on and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's all very dramatic, but I knew that I needed to do that, for my family, just because lacrosse, I get so focused on it and it's really easy for me to, I don't know, neglect other responsibilities in my life. And
Yeah.
I just couldn't do that when my kids were super young. So,
Sure. Yeah.
so I decided to step away from it. And the thing that's sad about that is like my kids didn't even know growing up that like they didn't really know anything about lacrosse. They didn't know that I played lacrosse. They didn't know that I really was even like an athlete. Like anyway, I look back on it now and I'm like, that's so crazy. But anyway, I really thought that it like wasn't going to be part of my life anymore. And, but then this opportunity came in 2020. It really felt like the stars aligned. I guess it was 2019, but the spring of 2020 was the first season. But we moved into this new neighborhood and I started I kind of was hearing that something was happening with lacrosse. I moved into this new neighborhood and it just was at the same time that my oldest daughter was going to be a freshman in high school at Provo High. And my youngest was going into first grade. So now I'm entering this new stage of motherhood where my kids are, out of the house more. I've got more free time on my hands. They're old enough that, they've got a little bit more independence, and which means I have a little bit more independence. But this neighborhood that I moved into, it was so interesting because before it was sanctioned, anybody at Provo High that wanted to played on the Timothy team.
Yep.
And at the time, there were 6 Provo girls that played on the lacrosse team. And I was at like a neighborhood activity with moms in the neighborhood. And I overheard a mom talking about her daughter who played lacrosse that was going to be a senior. And there's 4 of these girls that played that went to Provo High lived in on my block. Like they just happened to live like right around me. And all 4 of them were going to be seniors. And I overheard this mom talking about how lacrosse was getting sanctioned and they really wanted to start a team, but they didn't have a coach. And nobody knew. I mean, I'm in this new neighborhood. Nobody knew anything about me. Didn't know my background. Didn't know that I knew anything about lacrosse. Nobody knows anything about lacrosse here, or they didn't. And so I overheard it, and I was kind of like, I asked questions, and I was super excited to find out that it was sanctioned. I mean, anybody that's been around, that long. I mean, we all know how big of a deal that is, and so. I was really hesitant at first, but it just felt like the stars were kind of aligning. Like it just was needed. I don't know. So I said, hey, well, I played lacrosse. And I think she kind of like brushed off like, oh, that's nice. And then like after we're talking for a little bit and I was like, yeah, like I used to coach and like I played at BYU. Anyway, we started talking and so she kind of lit up and was like, okay, I need to have my daughter talk to you because they're trying to get this team started at Provo High and the only thing that they don't have is a coach.
Right.
Anyway, so long story short, that's how I got involved at Provo High. Originally, I was thinking, honestly, the biggest motivation for me to go back into it is I was thinking it was going to be a really good opportunity for my daughter to get involved because she didn't really have any extracurriculars. And I thought, oh, well, like this could be good, give her an opportunity. And, things didn't work out. And she played her freshman year, but she decided not to continue playing. And so then I just ended up coaching, and I didn't have any kids that played lacrosse. And so that was my initial motivation. But now I do have a daughter that plays on my team. But anyway,
awesome.
That kind of gets me to where I was at Provo High. And so I don't know if you
that's great.
Go from there.
Yeah. So you've been coaching at Provo High since day one, essentially, because they didn't have a club team. And then obviously sanctioning brought on several new girls programs, including Provo High.
Yeah.
What's been some of the challenges that you faced? It's been, give or take 5 or 6 years now of sanctioning. What have been some of the challenges just kind of with the admins? I remember talking to a lot of coaches, like admins had no idea what lacrosse was, to your point about your neighborhood, like maybe some of them didn't know. What have been some of the challenges that you've had in these last few years?
Yeah. I mean, so one thing that has been really great from day one is that we've had huge support from our school, from our admin and our athletic director and our principals. Like we've had huge support. We were really lucky that there was a teacher at Provo High that was a huge advocate for our program, even before I got there. I don't know the details of his experience, but he had some experience previously at Westlake. I don't know if he was involved coaching or if he just was a supporter of the team. I don't remember all the details, but we were just really lucky. He wrote a bunch of grants for us to get equipment donated and money donated. And we just had a lot of support. I do have to say though, I mean, without it's how do I say this? Without this sounding, how do I say this? I think it was mutually beneficial because I already had experience playing and coaching, and having experience to coaching on the club. What used to be club,
right?
Not what club now is now. I knew a lot. I had a lot of experience on like we didn't have any admin helping us, right? So like we were in charge of everything, and so I knew the ins and outs on what it took to start a team or get a team going. So I think it was kind of lucky on both ends. And so I kind of knew like organizationally how to get everything going and how to get girls. To answer your question, the biggest challenge is convincing people to invest in,
sure.
Which everybody knows that, at least down here. I know it's a different game up in Salt Lake County, but the majority of the people, I mean, even still to this day, girls show up to tryouts and they've never seen a game before. I mean, we still have no players that have any experience before they come to our team. And so, I'd say like 80% of what I do is just trying to convince people to try, like just come and try it. And convince parents that it's safe for their kids to play, because really the only, if they have any knowledge of what lacrosse is, it's boys lacrosse.
Sure.
And so they think that their daughters are going to go out there and get slammed. And I mean, I guess they do in different ways, but
that's sure.
So
and some parents might like that for their daughter, because there's always that movement of, let the girls wear helmets and gloves and all that. So. And
I have had some players that have come and been really disappointed when they learned that they couldn't hit people. Well,
sure.
But yeah, and I would say, and this isn't unique to us, but it was really challenging having that first year be COVID, because I was super excited about having that core group of girls. We had 4 seniors and then 2 juniors that actually did have experience, but then we didn't get that season with them. So we didn't ever benefit from having experience. So like we lost that. If we had had that first season, I mean, we've had good success, but if we had had that first season, it would have made a really big difference in our program. So, anyway, the biggest challenge is just convincing people to play. But I think, as we've progressed, our teams progressed, like with the exception of COVID, because we only played one game and we lost.
Right.
But we've had a winning season every year. And so, that alone, we're kind of to the point now where we don't have to do a whole lot of recruiting because we've built a program and built a culture that girls just want to be a part of. So that's been a little bit easier. Now the challenge is trying to get girls involved younger. That's the next step that's going to get our program to the next level. So
yeah, absolutely.
And we're kind of back to convincing people to play when they're younger.
Sure, absolutely. And that's the challenge for a lot of programs, a lot of teams out there. I think that's a perfect segue into something else that you're highly involved in, Utah County Lacrosse, and all the different programs there. So on top of coaching at Provo, you founded Utah County Lacrosse. Tell me some of the kind of what the genesis, what the origin is for starting that.
Yeah. So Utah County Lacrosse is a little bit of an accident. And it's a COVID baby. So after the season got canceled, so most of the things, really everything that I create with Utah County Lacrosse is to fulfill a need that we have at Provo.
Sure.
I just let my secret out of the bag, but I know that we have that need at Provo, which means that all of the high schools around here have the same need.
Right.
So it was developed in 2020, in the summer of 2020, for the sole purpose of allowing those players that missed their first season to have games.
Yeah.
Because I was super nervous about losing all of the momentum that we got. We recruited all these girls. We did practice. Everybody was in the same boat. We recruited all these girls. I was teaching them the game all fall, all spring, and then they don't even get to play games. And I was so nervous that they weren't going to come back. And so I thought, I gotta, if I can just show these girls what the game is, they're going to come back. Like, I've been trying to convince them, like, it really is great. It's really great. Just wait till we get to the games. And then we never got the games. And so we started in the summer of 2020, and it was sevens, and that's what it was. And it was a combination of letting those girls have games, and also letting the seniors have games, because by the time we got into the summer, things had lightened up a little bit. We could kind of get around some of the restrictions, and we were able to have games. And it was I was surprised at how I originally marketed it only to Provo and Orem. It was like Provo High, I think I even put on the first flyer, like Provo High, Timpanogos, Orem, Mountain View. And we ended up having like 15 teams that I think I had like 150 girls sign up that year. Like, it was a huge success. And it was supposed to just be that. That's it.
Yeah.
And then the next year I started having people asking like, "Oh, are you doing sevens again? We love that." And so I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll do seven. And I literally, like, I'm looking out the window right now. It was at the field behind my house. Like, everything was just out of my garage. I just pulled all the equipment out. We played games on this field, and and then the next year we like doubled in size.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this is something, because I knew that like Tribal West had huge success with their sevens up in Salt Lake.
Yep.
And so we modeled it after that. Like, all the credit is to them. I know that they've done amazing things, and they really created the sevens game here in Utah. And so we just kind of modeled it after that. Not wanting to compete, which is why we did in the summer, not in the fall, because I didn't want to compete. I wanted it to just be like an additional opportunity and to have it closer for girls down here. And the second year it doubled in size. The third year, I think we added like a junior version, junior girls, which was okay. And I can't remember if it was that third year. I think it was that third year that we added boys. And anyway, so it's just continued. We tried doing the last 2 years. We transitioned over into sixes, trying to model it after the Olympic model.
Yeah.
But we're going to go back to sevens. I don't think that people don't seem to like it as much, at least on the girls' side. So
sure.
We're going to go back to seven. But anyway, so it's just kind of turned into this thing. So then I realized, okay, I have this name, I have this platform, Utah County Lacrosse. As we, now the next thing, like I said, the next thing we need is a junior league. So that's where Ascent, it's new this year. We tried doing like junior versions of sevens. It kind of worked, didn't really work. So now we're trying Ascent because we're trying to kind of like do this full program that you can see from the beginning, like what you can get involved in, like a fall training, spring season, summer camps. It was going to just be girls. And then I started getting, is there something for boys? And so like, okay,
Sure.
I got to be doing boys. And it's still very much in the beginning stages, but we had really good feedback. And it's just a really like non-intimidating environment, like super positive, super inclusive, like just come try it. The thing I love about lacrosse in Utah, that I've come to love about lacrosse in Utah, is one of my favorite things is helping kids realize that they are an athlete. Like they've never played a sport before. And it's hard to get into a sport later in life. Like if you didn't start when you're in kindergarten playing soccer, then you're never going to, be able to be on the high school team or even play like in middle school. And so I love that we get kids that have never really played a sport before. And then they realize like they can be an athlete too. And they can find their place and find their sport. And so we're doing a lot of that. And, we also have this Flex 6 program, which actually was more of a baby of Taylor Red. It was his idea. He reached out to me last year because he was trying to start this thing and that's reaching even a younger target. And then it kind of, it's just transition. I was like, yeah, for sure. Like do your thing. You can use Utah County, join Utah County. Like we've already got the name. We might as well work together. And, since he's become more busy with Storm, Flex 6 has just kind of been absorbed into what we're doing here with Utah County. So that is for K through 8th grade. That's even more. So we've got all these opportunities for kids. And then really various opportunities for kids K through 12th grade. We're just really trying to provide more opportunities for kids. Like I said, our motto is like affordable, accessible, high quality lacrosse training in Utah.
Right. And as you and I were talking before, it's not a I am Lax competitor. It's more of a supplement, right? It's something that 100%. You can add on.
Yeah. I do not want to be competing with anything. My goal, 100% goal, is to just supplement and grow what's already there. Like I said, with sevens, I try really hard to not compete with Tribal West 7, like intentionally.
Yeah.
I want girls to be able to do both. And same with I Am Lax, like really the goal is, and in the spring season, like our Ascent team is going to be participating in the I Am Lax Youth League. Like that's where we're going to get our games. We're not traveling to club tournaments. Like we want to be participating in things that are already going on and not competing. And the whole purpose of having Ascent versus, a Provo team or an Orem team we just don't have enough kids to have our own Provo team. And so we're combining anyway. So it's like, why don't we just get the kids all together, starting to train together, so they're more comfortable with each other, that it's familiar, and then, if we need to combine, they're already used to being combined. If we can split, great, let's split. But the goal eventually is to have individual teams in every city. This is not meant to, compete with that at all. It's meant to facilitate it.
Right. I love it. I think it's amazing. I think a lot of the stuff that you said will strike a chord with a lot of people listening. The part that you're pulling stuff out of your garage and putting it on the field next to your house. I think more than one person listening will definitely relate to that. And then, the whole, how does lacrosse interact with kids? I've got 4 kids. It can be a tricky thing. And so I think what you said there will also strike a chord with people. I want to thank you coming on for the podcast. Where can people find out more about Utah County Lacrosse?
Yeah. So we have a website, utahcountylacrosse.com. We're also on Instagram at Utah County Lacrosse. We do have a Facebook page. We're not like great at keeping up with the Facebook page, but our Instagram stuff is also posted on the Facebook page. But then also like on our website, we have like a contact us, like we can get direct messages or phone calls. Another thing that I really love to do is just to be a resource. I've had parents call me before and I forward them on to, the youth team in their city, or the high school coach, or, they call looking for a place to get gear, and I point them to Storm Lacrosse. So we also kind of serve as a resource of just, where can I find all things lacrosse? So we're just all about trying to be a support to the local community, lacrosse community.
That's awesome. I love it. And, it's always good to meet a fellow lacrosse fanatic. And again, thanks for coming on the pod. We appreciate everything you're doing in Utah County. And I'm sure we'll see you on the sidelines.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks.